Vin tapped his foot, anxious. The cafe buzzed, a low hum against the rumble of the city outside. Rain lashed against the windows, blurring the neon signs across the street. He clutched his coffee, the warmth a small comfort in the cold, damp air. He checked his watch again. 10:58 p.m. Where was he? This late-night meeting was already pushing. Trusting Leo was one thing, but this felt different. Riskier. His gut churned with a growing unease, a sudden vibration. His phone, unknown number. He hesitated, then answered.
It's me, Leo. There's been a change of plans.
Vin's heart pounded against his ribs. His hand trembled, almost dropping the phone. Vin, what do you mean?
Just get here and come alone. We've got a situation.
Vin's mind raced. A situation? What situation? He'd been so careful, so meticulous in planning this deal. He shoved down the rising panic, forcing himself to take a slow, measured sip of his now cold coffee. He couldn't back out now. Too much was riding on this. He glanced at the door, each passing second an eternity. He needed to know what Leo was involved in, what danger he was walking into. The bell above the door chimed, the sound sharp in the near-empty cafe. Vin's pulse quickened. A tall figure, face shrouded by the shadow of a fedora, walked in. Leo.
They're on to us. We need to move the exchange. Tonight, different location.
Vin swallowed hard, trying to maintain his composure. He couldn't let Leo see his fear. Vin pressed, his voice a low murmur. Leo's eyes darted around the cafe, his usual swagger replaced by a nervous energy.
Don't know, but they're asking questions. Too many questions. Vin, about the shipment?
Vin questioned, his mind racing, trying to connect the dots. What had Leo gotten himself into, and more importantly, what did it mean for him?
About everything. We're being watched, I tell you.
He leaned closer, his breath hot on Vin's ear.
We need to be gone, vanished, before they find us.
Vin nodded, his mind a whirlwind of possibilities. He had to stay calm, had to think. He needed to assess the situation, figure out his next move. But one thing was clear, he'd been lied to. This was bigger than just a deal. This was dangerous. Suddenly, a sharp ring cut through the tense silence. Leo flinched, his hand instinctively reaching for his jacket. Vin's phone. The same unknown number. He felt a chill run down his spine.
Don't answer that.
Leo hissed, his eyes wide with panic, but it was too late. Vin had already picked up the call, his heart pounding in his chest. Vin, hello?
You have something that belongs to us. We want it back.
Vin's blood ran cold. He glanced at Leo, whose face had paled considerably. He knew who was on the other end of the line, and he knew they were in serious trouble. The cafe door burst open, shattering the tense silence. A wave of shouting, the thudding of boots, and blinding lights flooded the room.
Police, nobody move!
Panic erupted. People screamed, scrambling for the exits. Vin froze, caught in the chaos, his mind reeling. This was it. It was all over. Leo reacted instantly, his chair clattering back as he lunged for the back door.
Go, go, go.
Leo yelled, pushing past terrified patrons, disappearing into the night. Vin hesitated for a split second. He had a choice to make. Follow Leo into the unknown, deeper into whatever mess this was, or stay put, face the police, and pray he could explain his way out of this. He took a deep breath, his heart hammering against his ribs. He couldn't run. Not anymore. He slowly raised his hands, his eyes scanning the room for a familiar face. There, across the room, by the counter, a man in a dark suit, holding a badge, watched him intently. Their eyes met, a slight nod. It was time. Vin, as narrator. "Sergeant Miller," Vin called out, his voice steady, betraying none of the turmoil raging within him. Miller nodded, his eyes never leaving Vin. He made his way through the panicking crowd, a calm amidst the storm.
It's over, Vin. The game is up.
Vin felt a wave of relief wash over him, mixed with a strange sense of sorrow. He was done. He had played his part, and now it was time to go home.
You did good, son. Leo won't get far. We've got units all over him.
Vin nodded, his throat tight. He had risked everything to bring Leo down, to dismantle his criminal network, but it had come at a cost. He had betrayed a friend, a confidant, even if that friend was a criminal mastermind. The weight of his deception felt heavy on his soul. "Vin, what happens now?" Vin asked, his voice raspy. Miller looked at him, a mix of admiration and pity in his eyes.
Now you disappear. Start a new life, far away from all this.
The sirens outside seemed to fade the chaos within the cafe, slowly subsiding as the police rounded up the remaining patrons. Vin looked around at the scene, at the fear and confusion on people's faces. This was the life he was leaving behind. He walked out of the cafe, the cool night air washing over him like a balm. The rain had stopped, leaving a glistening sheen on the pavement, reflecting the city lights in a shimmering dance. He took a deep breath, the scent of wet asphalt and exhaust fumes filling his lungs. He had done it. He had brought Leo down, exposed his crimes and brought justice to those he had hurt. But at what cost? He had betrayed a friend, lived a lie and crossed lines he never thought he would. The memories flickered through his mind, late-night meetings, coded conversations, the constant fear of exposure. He had played his role well, too well perhaps. He had almost lost himself in the process. As he hailed a cab, the city lights blurring into streaks of color, he couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't over. That Leo's reach was long and his thirst for revenge unquenchable. He had made a powerful enemy tonight, and he knew with chilling certainty that this was just the beginning. The plane touched down, the wheels screeching against the tarmac, pulling him back to the present. Buenos Aires, a world away from the rain-soaked streets and shadowy deals of his past life, yet he couldn't shake the feeling that he was still running. He stepped off the plane, the humid air heavy with the scent of jasmine and exhaust fumes. A new city, a new identity, a chance to start over. But the past had a way of catching up, of casting long shadows even in the brightest of suns. He had a new mission now, to rebuild his life piece by piece, to find peace, to outrun the ghosts of his past. He knew it wouldn't be easy. The scars of his deception ran deep, a constant reminder of the price he had paid, but he was determined. He had survived the fire, and he would rise from the ashes, stronger, wiser, forever changed by the experience. He was no longer Vin, the undercover agent. He was someone new, someone forged in the crucible of betrayal and redemption. He found solace in the anonymity of the city, in the rhythm of a life far removed from the adrenaline rush of his former life. He learned Spanish, embraced the culture, and even found joy in the simple things. A cup of strong coffee, the laughter of children playing in the park, the vibrant colors of the street art that adorned the city walls. Yet even in paradise, shadows lingered. The news from home was a constant reminder of the life he had left behind. Leo was still at large, a phantom haunting his dreams. The organization he had helped dismantle was rebuilding, its tendrils reaching out, seeking to reclaim what they had lost. He knew that his new life, this hard-won peace, was fragile, a house of cards that could collapse with a single gust of wind. And he knew with a certainty that chilled him to the bone that one day, perhaps soon, he would have to face his demons once again. For now, he allowed himself a moment of peace, a breath of freedom. He watched the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange, pink and purple, a vibrant reminder that even in the darkest of nights, dawn always comes. He was a ghost, a shadow living on borrowed time, but he was alive, and he would fight to stay that way for as long as he could.